Have you ever met a mermaid before? I've met lots of them. Well, let's begin at the very beginning. Once upon a time is how all of the best stories begin. Once upon a time, there was a little mermaid. Are you a mermaid too out there? I hope that there are some mermaids watching. Well, anyway, once upon a time there was a mermaid, and she was so fascinated with humans. Wasn't I? I guess I still am. Well, my father was having a big concert for my birthday. Well, all 6 of my sisters were there. Aquata, Andrina, Arista, Atina, Adela, and Alana. But I wasn't. Do you remember where I was? I was off exploring a shipwreck with my very best friend, Flounder. Do you remember Flounder? He was a little fish. Do you remember what colors he was? Well, he's the same colors today. He was blue and yellow then, and he's blue and yellow now. Did you know that some fishes change colors and patterns as they get older? There are some fish that are born black like batfish, and as they get older and older, they start to get these bright white stripes on them, and then they kind of turn yellow in some places. It's really amazing. I kind of wish I could change colors too. Rapunzel has a friend that can change colors too. It's very exciting. Animals are so lucky, aren't they? Anyway, so I was discovering a shipwreck with Flounder, and I found some very neat human treasures. Do you remember the treasures that I found? One of them was really shiny, and it had long legs and a long body, but it wasn't a fish. Do you remember what it was? It looked kind of like this. It was a dinglehopper, wasn't it? Do you know how I learned about dinglehoppers? My very good friend Scuttle. He's a seagull. He's a gray and white bird. Well, Scuttle told me all about dinglehoppers and how the humans use them to comb their hair. Well, now I have lots of dinglehoppers. Prince Eric seems to think it's strange, though, but I think it's because he's a boy and he doesn't have long hair. Anyway, so I was collecting human treasures and I brought them back to my little grotto, and I was hiding away all my human treasures. My father was not very happy to see that I had all my human treasures in my grotto, was he? No, he wasn't. He was very strict. But then Sebastian, my music teacher, well, he tried to convince me to stay under the ocean with everyone in my family. Well, did I listen to Sebastian and stay under the sea? I didn't, did I? Well, one night I was swimming along with Flounder, and when I looked up, the top of the ocean was lighting up in all of these beautiful colors. It was like the stars themselves were on fire. I guess they are, aren't they? Well, I swam all the way up to the top, and I saw what Eric has told me now is called fireworks. Have you ever seen fireworks? Oh, I think they're just beautiful. They're so sparkly and in all the different colors. Do you have a favorite color? I know I do. My favorite color is purple. Well, I climbed aboard this ship from all the ropes hanging down, and I spied on Prince Eric. He was the most handsome person I've ever seen in my whole life. Well, I was in love at first sight. We had to be together, but I really wanted to be human, didn't I? But then there was this great shipwreck, and there was lightning, and it struck their big sail, and the whole ship went under the ocean, and everybody was so scared. And so I swam as fast as I could to save Prince Eric, and I saw that he had saved others first, and then started to sink because he was so tired. And so I swam down as fast as I could, and I caught him, and I brought him all the way back up to the surface, and I dragged him up onto the sand. He was safe. He was going to make it. He was going to be okay. Oh, I was so glad. But before he woke up, I was dreaming. I didn't want to sit there when he was awake. But while he was asleep, I was able to really look at him and see a human up close. I'd never touched a human before, and I got to save one. I sat there and I dreamed about a life with Prince Eric. Do you remember? I said, what would I give to be where you are? What would I pay to stay here beside you? What would I give to see you smiling at me? And then he woke up and he heard me singing. Oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed and I was so afraid. I've never been spotted by a human before. So I jumped back into the ocean and I swam back home as fast as I could. But he remembered me, didn't he? So I get all the way back home and I was in big trouble with my dad. Oh, he was so mad. He knew I was in danger because he knows that humans like to have things called seafood, and that is not a good thing for a mermaid. Well, I was grounded, but I was really upset about it, and I went to the sea witch. Do you remember her name? Her name is Ursula, and she's got all these big tentacles, doesn't she? I think she might like purple too, actually. I guess we all have something in common with everybody, don't we? Well, I went to Ursula and I asked her if she could make me human so that I could go fall in love with my prince. Well, she said she could, but not in the very best way. She said I would have to give something up if I wanted to be human. So I had to make a trade, but I didn't have any money. She didn't want money, did she? Do you remember what she wanted from me? My voice. It's going to be really hard to communicate without a voice. I don't know, maybe sign language? I don't know any. Do you know sign language? Well, I'm trying to learn now because now that I've been without a voice for a while, I've learned how valuable it is. So I'm trying to get better at it. So here's what I think is my name in sign language. Now tell me if I got it right. I think it's A-R-I-E-L. Right? I hope I got that right. Well, I traded my voice for human legs, and I had to sing to give her my voice. So I sang, ah, and she took it, and she put it inside a seashell necklace that she wore around her neck. Well, I'm human now, and I'm in the ocean, and I can't breathe anymore because I'm not a mermaid. So Flounder and Sebastian rushed me to the surface as fast as they could so that I could go and get some air. Well, I was still a little wobbly on my brand new human legs, but I was so happy because I was a human. I had toes and fingers. Well, I had fingers before, but now I had both so I could count to 20. And then all of a sudden I hear a dog barking. And then this big furry dog comes jumping up on me. His name is Max. I learned that because Prince Eric showed up out of nowhere and he said, Max, get down, leave her alone, be a good boy. So I thought, well, it's nice to meet you, Max. And thank you, Prince Eric. And he asked me my name. And for a second I forgot I couldn't talk anymore. And I tried to answer him, but nothing came out. I said, so he said, oh, are you okay? Are you sick? You can't talk? And I shrugged. And then I tried to tell him, but I didn't know sign language. So I tried to tell him there was a big shipwreck and you were floating on the ocean. And then there was lightning, and then the ship sank, and then you were just sinking down, and I swam to get, and I grabbed, and I brought, but he didn't understand at all. He thought, I don't know what he thought. So he said, "Do you need my help?" And I just said, because if someone offers you help, it's just polite to take it, right? So he took me back to his castle. Oh, it was so beautiful. And he gave me this very nice dress, because I was just using one of the sails from the shipwreck that I found. It didn't look very fashionable. Anyway, he gave me lots of pretty dresses. And Grimsby, that's like his best friend, he told him that he needed to get married and that he should take me out for a nice night on the town so that he could get to know me better. It was like a dream come true. That's exactly what I wanted. Well, Prince Eric took me out for a night on the town, and he taught me so much about human life. I couldn't ask any questions, though, so it was a little frustrating, wasn't it? You can ask me questions, though. I'll see your questions, and I'll be able to answer you right away. I love answering questions because I love asking questions. And I love curiosity. If you have any questions about mermaid life, just ask. So we went out for this wonderful night, and he took me on a picnic, and he took me to a farmer's market, and I got to see vegetables and things that don't even grow underwater. It's amazing. Humans are so amazing. I hope you know that you're amazing. And then we went on this lovely little boat ride in a dark lagoon, and it was getting dark outside, and the fireflies had come out. Do you know what a firefly is? I learned that night they're these little tiny bugs, but they can light up like glitter. Oh, they're beautiful. And Sebastian really tried to help me because Ursula told me that I would get my voice back if I could get him to kiss me one time. That doesn't sound too hard. Right? I kiss my dad all the time. Well, it's a little bit harder than I thought. But we're in the lagoon and Sebastian started to sing, "Kiss the girl, kiss the girl," and all of the other sea life and fishes and bugs and birds and everybody started to sing and try to create the mood so that Prince Eric would finally kiss me and I could get my voice back and tell him the whole story. And right when he was about to kiss me, what happened? The whole boat tipped over, didn't it? Oh! Of course it would. Nothing's easy, is it? You've got to work for everything that you really want. Well, I was ready to work for it. So, Eric took me back to the castle, and I was going to bed that night. I'm brushing my hair, and Sebastian told me, "Don't worry, we still have tomorrow. We'll make sure in the morning that we can get Prince Eric to kiss me." As I went to bed that night, I was still hopeful. But I didn't know that Ursula, the sea witch, had transformed herself into this beautiful girl. And she was wearing the necklace with my voice in it. And she went walking on the beach, right next to Eric's bedroom window. And she allowed my singing voice to come from her necklace because she knew Eric had heard me. And Eric heard my singing, "Ah," and he recognized it from the shipwreck. And it was like he was in a trance. You know, maybe he was, because she is a sea witch. Well, he left his bedroom and he went out into the sand in the middle of the night, and he found her, and she said her name was Vanessa. "No, it's not. Your name is Ursula." Well, Vanessa told him that she had saved his life and that she wanted to marry him. And he was under some kind of spell, and he said, "Yes!" I spent a whole day with him, and he wouldn't kiss me. But he sees Vanessa for 2 seconds, and he's ready to get married? What am I doing wrong? Well, they finally go out, and I'm so upset, and I still can't talk, and they're going to get married, and I have to stand there, and I can't say anything to stop it. And then the time ran out. Oh, and the spell was broken. Oh! And what happened? Do you remember? I turned back into a mermaid right in front of him. Oh my goodness. I was so scared that he was not going to like me. I mean, this isn't really something that a human boy would expect, is it? But when the spell was broken, I had my voice back, and I said, Eric, no, don't marry her. And when she saw that the spell had broken and time was up, and she hadn't married him yet, oh, Ursula got so mad, and she turned into herself. Was he ever surprised? But the spell was broken on him too, and he was no longer under her spell. And he saw me, and he started to understand what was happening, but it was too late, and Ursula used her powers to grow really big. And then the whole ship fell apart that we were on. She was too big and too heavy. She just broke it into pieces. And Eric was able to get one of the lifeboats, and it had a big mast on it with a big sharp point. And so we were swimming around in the water trying to save everybody, and Prince Eric was determined to beat this awful sea witch monster she'd turned into. And so he went toward her, and he was a very good sailor, and he went right for her. And when the big pointy mast hit her big monster body, it broke her spell. It broke her magic spell, and she could no longer be so big. And she shrunk and said no, because she knew that she had lost. And she shrunk back, and she was embarrassed, and she went right back down to where she lived. And Eric was left to figure out what had happened. And I was able to explain it because I had my voice back. And he said, I knew it was you all along. And then, do you know how all of the very best stories end? And they lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you so much for letting me tell my story. I only see one comment so far, so if you have any questions that you would like to ask, it's not every day you meet a mermaid, right? You can ask me my favorite foods, or you could ask me my very favorite thing that I've learned about humans, or you could ask me about my favorite land animal, or my favorite kind of fish. There's so many things I want to know about you that I can't imagine that there's nothing you want to know about me. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my story time, and I would love to talk to you again. We can do a video call. It would be lots of fun. Thank you so much for letting me come in and tell this story to you all, and I really hope that I can answer some of your questions down in the chat. So I'll come back. I'll keep coming back and checking and making sure that every question gets answered, okay? Thank you so much. It's been so nice to meet you all, and I hope to get to know you better very soon. All right? Bye, everyone.